Next, we have Jibu Elias, Mozilla Responsible Computing Fellow. We have the keynote session on the topic Building Ethical AI Ecosystems, Challenges and Opportunities.
I know I'm the one who is standing between you and the dinner, so it'll be quick. How many minutes I have? 10 minutes. Okay, okay. All right. So it's a very difficult task to do the last talk. People will start to hate you. So please be nice. So yeah, so I'm going to talk about ethical AI ecosystem. Okay, so yeah, okay, this is my profile. So I think I will skip that. Uh, yeah, so I will start with one of the quote I am very fond of. This is a quote I found in a book. So civilizations advance by extending the number of important operations we can perform without thinking about them. So it's a quote from actually 1878, and when we look back at things, it's very relevant, right? Going forward. Now, let me talk to you about what does AI ethics means, why it is important. So there is two way of looking at AI ethics, right? So first is, as you can see in the slide, it is about to deal with ethical issues that arise from AI systems as objects, right? Because using of AI, you don't need to use AI for anything and everything. There is this thought experiment we have. It's called creating a human mulch machine. So this thought experiment was in one of the papers I reviewed for a journal, and it says some of the smart people they created an AI model. The idea is that it will turn senior citizens into mulch. Mulch means topsoil, if you don't know. So essentially, it kills old people, turn them into dust. Now the creator will comes and say, you know what? Our AI is responsible. The algorithm is transferable. The data of the people is kept secure. There is accountability, and you have all this list of responsible AI pillars or whatever. But then this bigger question remains: why is it used for? Right? Is it okay to use for such things? So second question is moral questions raised as AI as subjects, right? So some of you might have heard about the trolley problem and similar things, right? What kind of decisions an AI will take or when autonomous cars become prominent? What kind of moral philosophy it should follow, and things like that. So, so that's the second thing. Okay, why is this slide going very weird? Okay, now I will tell you a story of this horse. I don't know how many of you heard about this horse, Clever Hans. Has any of you heard about this horse, Clever Hans? You are the only one. Hi, we met few months ago in CCD. Yep, yeah. So, yeah, so Clever Hans is a horse in 1907 in Germany. Now, the story is that William von Ochen, or I keep forgetting his name, he was a animal trainer and an arithmetic teacher. Now, he had a horse which was called Hans. Now, Hans had a magical ability. That was, it can solve mathematical problems. So I mean, we all followed very cute dogs on Instagram, right? Who are obeying things, dogs with tap buttons to convey your message. But what about a horse that solves arithmetics? Now, when the master he asks questions, what Hans does was he uses his hoof. There's a mechanism where he makes his certain movements, certain hoof movement, and then that is translated into a board, and you got the answer. So Hans knew what is 4 plus 5. It's 9. Hans knew what is 3 plus 7. It is 10. So Hans was a huge trend. Hans was viral back in the ages. But then there was this professor of psychology called Oscar Fungst. He was curious. He was a journalist. He keeps saying, no, that's not possible. How can only Hans is the only smart horse in the whole world which can solve algorithm? So one day this guy came and started asking some questions. Now then he realized Hans only know the answers to the questions to which his masters know the answer. If the master doesn't know what is 21 plus 4, then Hans doesn't know 21 plus 4. Then further on observation, it was realized that Hans was just observing the micro emotions of the masters. So that's a proven theory that animals can observe micro emotions. So today's AI is pretty much that. Whether we speak about LLMs, we speak about generative AI or reinforcement learning, it's learning on what only we know so far. Now, that also causes many problems. Now, the slide shows about a very tragic issue. So there was this Palestinian youngster. He was standing next to a JCB and he posted a Facebook message in Arabic. It was a good morning message he posted, like our Keshavan Ammavans and our aunties who sends you good morning messages with the lotus flower or rose flower. My mother always used rose flower, I don't know why. So he was doing the same thing. Unfortunately, because there was a JCB in the background and Facebook's algorithm mistranslated it, it has attacked them. This poor fellow was tortured for hours and hours by Israeli security forces. And I don't have to explain you how bad they torture. So that's one use case scenario. Now you have seen so many others on the side. Amazon tried an AI recruitment tool which kept suggesting white male dudes as the best candidates. Or the Compass. Compass was a parole allocation software created in US, which keeps giving very low risk score for white Americans who has done weapon assault over black Americans who had done petty crimes. You had the UK Parliament issue. There are so many issues. There was another issue called UK's plus two exams or A-level exams, where students, good students from poor neighborhood got low mark, while bad students from a very high, how do I say, the fancy neighborhood got high mark. So these are the some of the minor things that's been happened in the last few years, and you can check out Sean. There's this thing called AI incidents database. It's a phenomenal tool to track this kind of things. Now things got so bad that last month there was an attack on Moscow by ISIS Khorasan. Now everyone knew it was done by ISIS. There were evidence and all, but some of the Russian TVs decided to go with this clip. Now the guy you see on this side, he is the head of security of Ukraine's defense forces. Now what happened is the video that the Russian television broadcasted in daylight is a video of him taking responsibility for that attack. This guy taking claim for that attack. But turns out that was a deep fake. Since the Russia-Ukraine war was going on, this was a perfect propaganda. Now we have seen how this technology, which is phenomenal. I mean, I'm a big fan of AI technology, and one of the things that I love about it, how it can improve accessibility to healthcare, how it can solve many of the problems, whether it's pest detection or healthcare diagnostics and numerous hundreds of problems. But on the other hand, things like this happens. Now the numbers of this kind of incidents keep surging all the years, and I don't think I had to attend. Now there's a bigger challenge. So I work with the Global Futures Council in World Economic Forum, and we are working on a white paper that calls the Red Lines. So have you heard about Asimov's laws of robotics? Anybody? Asimov's laws of robotics? Yeah. So we are working on something similar to that for AI. We call it red lines. And one of them is that no AI system should recommend biochemical weapons to a user. Now, why is that? So there's something called de novo method. De novo method is also called generative chemistry. It's very popular. It's been used regularly in creation of molecules in healthcare space, in creation of drug discovery. Now some of the students from MIT, they used LLM and some of this method, and they got recipes of hundreds of bioweapons. You could just start manufacturing. Now things got crazy when some of the researchers used one of the most sophisticated tools, and it started giving recipes of VX and the sarin gas and things like this. Is the paper they published. So this asks the questions: how safe are these tools? Where we will end up, right? What does that happens if this kind of technology ends up in the hand of rogue creators? So that's why do we need ethics? So first of all, there is this risk of building technology tools that are not safe for humanity or even possess existential threat, like people like Nick Bostrom, who is now a controversial figure, or Stuart Russell, and many of them are advocating on that narrative. then there's a question, right? AI is reflecting many of the socio-economic evil we have, and tools are developed without any concern to understanding of socio-economic context. For example, everyone is talking about language translation tools. Oh, we can do that, the millions and dollars and all those things. But in most cases, these tools fail to understand the correct translation because it doesn't get the cultural context. It doesn't get, if I, now this is the viral trend in Instagram. If I call one of the guys out there and say adichi keri vada, if what does it translates into, right? When I say it, people know what it means. But if you translate literally into, I'm not asking or promoting violence here. I'm just asking in a different way, right? So now that's why, and the final problem is, this is an area I'm working very closely these days, is that AI might be increasing inequality, and that's a big concern. For example, I have been going to colleges and schools, not in the main cities but in rural India. So the disparity you see, for example, when I'm in a college like Christ in Bangalore, where I speak to the students, the way the number of things they knew related to AI, it's incredible, it's impressive. But on the other hand, if you go, I will tell you a very famous college in Central Travancore, and I spoke to the smartest students there. Their their knowledge of AI is like really, really shocking. So this asks a question: is this technology only for the affluent? What if people who can't pay $20 for a chat GPT subscription, what will they do? And the slide കളയല്ലേ മോനെ. So that's another question, right? So, well, I have my slides here. Yeah, so if it's working, yes. So that's a bigger challenge, this inequality. And it goes beyond. We speak about jobs. One of the things, so when you ask a question, hey, what is going to happen with your jobs? You will hear two answers. One, AI is going to create more jobs. Who created the narrative in India? I did that a few years back. Second thing you hear is, no, no, no. You need to upskill, you need to reskill. Who created the narrative in India? I did that. So that's why when people tell that to me, I get irritated because I know that that's not the reality going to be. Where you are going to upskill and reskill into. I know a 50-year-old copywriter who worked with me, a brilliant editor, a wonderful writer. He lost his job at the age of 50 because ChatGPT can do half of his work. Now, is it reasonable for asking him, hey, bro, come here. You need to upskill and reskill. So what does I do? Learn to code. Start making program. Learn Python, learn R. Is that the reasonable thing to do? It's like നമ്മൾ മലയാളത്തിൽ പറയുകയില്ല, ഈ അണ്ണാനെ അല്ല അണ്ണാനെ നീന്താൻ പഠിപ്പിക്കുന്ന പോലെയാണ്. So that's where things are happening. That's where, and I will give you a very good scenario. Then the other scenario, no, AI plus human, that is gonna happen. No, that's also BS. I know that, because one AI plus human is gonna replace 100 humans. I will give you a very simple example. Some of the jobs. So I'm an alumni of London School of Economics, and I was on the campus recently, and there was this book launched by one of the professors, and they were talking in 2018. They were talking about jobs that AI won't take away. Do you know what was the answer? AI will never take away any creative jobs. It can't write poetry. It can't create images. No way. Now, this time when I go, the same professor was there. He was telling, AI can't take away jobs that requires emotions. AI can't exhibit emotions. Do you know what? Have you heard about sociopaths? There are sociopaths among us. I don't know. Maybe some of us might be, who doesn't have emotions but exhibits, fake the emotions through actions, words, and communication, which AI can do, of course. So this is what happening. And now I will give you a different scenario of jobs. Let's say there is a doctor. Let's talk about a hospital, right? Let's say there is a Trivandrum hospital and there is 3 doctors in that hospital. Now you have to pay 1 lakh rupees for 3 doctors. The hospital is paying 3 lakh rupees a month for this doctor. Somebody guy comes and says, you know what? I have a diagnostic AI tool. Why don't these doctors use it? Now this diagnostic tool is now helping doctors save 30% of their time, each of them. So will that result in all these doctors getting 30% of free time? No. The hospital is going to fire one of the doctor, and then use, with the help of AI, the other 2 doctors will do the extra job. So that's one doctor who lost the job. Now the second stage will be like, you will try to use AI a little more, and they will figure out you only need one doctor to do the diagnostics. And considering if they are all senior doctors, you will cut them off. Now you have to pay only 1 lakh rupees and whatever thousand subscription you have to pay for the AI tool. Now is the interesting part called lobbying comes into play. Now they will say, you know what, we don't need a senior doctor. No, let's say there's a regulation. The regulation, oh God. Whoever was doing it, I was reading somebody's WhatsApp text previously. So anyway, in the screen. So yeah, so let's say regulation comes into place. And one of the things regulation demands is there should be a human in the loop. AI must not take a decision. A human should sign off the decision. Okay, the hospital will say, you know what? We will get a fresher out of the hospital with an MBBS. You only need a doctor to sign it off. You don't need a senior. So again, you save the money. Now the lobbying plays and say, you only need a medical professional to sign it off. Who will come there? It can be a nurse, it can be a therapist, anyone. So this is how the job landscape will evolve. And I'm sorry, I was a big proponent of this technology. I still believe in that technology. I evangelized this technology, but that's how things are going to change. And so yeah, these are the things with AI ethics. I think I have mentioned most of things, so I won't bore you with these things. So what is happening to AI ethics? It's fancy, no? All these guys have fired their accountability, safety. The recent is Elias Kurvaiskar. If you don't know him, he's the man. He's the man behind OpenAI. He's out. So many, we have seen what happened to Timnit Gibru and all those guys. So none of these guys, whether it's Google, whether it's Microsoft, whether it's OpenAI, Meta, whatever, who guys are in Valley, they don't have an ethics team or a safety team now, or a responsible AI team now. So yeah, that's how things are right now. Now, how do we fix this? So these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. Yeah, 7 ways in which we can fix. So red lines I mentioned before. We are working on those kind of things. We are still debating what will be a behavioral red lines, or what kind of things we can do. Other things are ethical frameworks. Now there's a question, whose ethics framework? So that's another thing I'm working on how do we ensure that all the culture is represented. Second is education. I will get into that in the next slide. And AI literacy and public awareness. When people are aware about a problem, people will act. Participated design is another thing. If you are building a tool, why don't you include the people who will end up using, or who will end up become the beneficiaries of the tools involved? Regulation and value alignment and red line. So value alignment is another thing, that how do we ensure that we build AI tools that's aligned to human values? So much thing. So coming to education, this is one of the things I do these days. It's called the Mozilla Responsible Computing Challenge. I mentioned it earlier in the panel. So we are trying to see how do we imagine how tech is taught in school. How do we ensure that the next generation of technologists are more responsible, more thoughtful? So these are some of the things we do. We grant awards, grants. We support cross-disciplinary community activities. Some of the things I think I won't take you through all those things. So this year's cohort I mentioned, like IITs and few other universities. So now AI literacy and public awareness. I don't know how many of you have seen this book in the TV show Three Body Problem. Have you? Anyone of you watched Three Body Problem? No? Oh, okay. So this lady here, Rachel Carson, she was crucified in the mid 19th century, 20th century, because she was the first one to raise voice against DDT, pesticides. She was the one who pointed out that these things are affecting our lives. Back then, the companies, the government, everyone crucified her, even the media. Now we know what is the side effect of DDT is. So that's one thing, literacy and public awareness, an example. And I want to take you through the governance part. So we all know European Union has an AI regulation. I work with OECD. There's something called OECD principles, which is the base framework based on which other regulations are being made. So we just added some of the things, environmental environmental concerns were added in, human rights were added in. We updated the principles. White House and some of the US government entities like NIST has came out with Lomani principles. UN Secretary General have a tech envoy, Amandeep Gill. He's working on it. And of course, World Economic Forum is working on things like value alignment and red lines. So another program I'm working on. So this is an effort of what I'm trying to do here is we're trying to create a collective of students, practitioners, and general public. So it's called a Samaj AI. What we are trying to do is we want to study the job displacement, which nobody speaks about. We want to strengthen the integrity and fairness of democratic process. So ensure that AI is not misused, and we want to establish ethical frameworks which is based out of global south and the general. So this is another way of how we overcome this, right, participator design part. So yes, so thank you very much. I can take questions if you have time, or else you can meet up there. And yeah, this QR code, if any of you want to work with me on the Samaj project, you can just scan the QR code and it will brings up a Google form. I'm trying to create a platform where its volunteers are working 1 hour, 2 hour a week. But the idea is to bring collective thoughts, participatory design, and to ensure that there is a strong voice on the other side of the aisle. It's easy to talk about 10,000 millions and crores and all, but I believe we, as the election results has also shown, in the end, we are all people with consciousness. We also always want to do what is right and what is good. Thank you. Okay.
Samajay. Yeah.
So the idea is, I will tell you something simple. I was working with a very prominent organization, and I was in so many important meetings where the question of AI and job comes. So I brings up this question. We should discuss this. No, we don't want to discuss this. So I will tell you something that came to my attention. So a prominent IT company in India is offering a package for a software engineer, fresher. They are offering him 3.5 lakhs per annum with 3-year bond, and they must work in any of their offices across the country. Oh, it's a very famous name. I don't want to get a defamation lawsuit by mentioning their name here. Now, that is the state of technology education in India. We keep admiring all these guys, but Indian IT industry is just cheap labor. It's what Foxconn did in China is what Indian IT companies are doing. I'm sorry to say this, because when is the last time an Indian IT company innovated something genuinely? Now, many of these folks have, some of the people in the periphery has moved into data annotation. They are saying it's for empowerment. Jobs are coming. AI is creating job. What is that job? Data empowerment, data annotating. How long that job will exist? So there is this concept that people say domain expertise is very important. If you have domain expertise, you will thrive in AI. Now, there was this incredible documentary about the AlphaGo, the AI program by DeepMind, which defeated Lee Sedol, the Messi of Go in the Go game. That's like the landmark moment in AI. If you watch that, the AlphaGo was taught by a Belgian Chinese Go player. It was his brain, it was his expertise. He was playing hundreds and thousands of games with this model. Where is he now? Nobody wants him because his expertise being sucked out, right? So the reality about jobs and future, I mean, it can be gloomy, it can be tricky. I mean, I don't know, I don't have the answer, and I keep wondering how will that play out, the job displacement and the economic divide that will comes out, right? Because in the end, we have seen Silicon Valley lies, Silicon Valley cheat, profit is all that matters. So my idea is, I am working with people from Kenya, the Kenyan AI ecosystem, Tanzania, Philippines. We are trying to create an organization that speaks for normal people's fear, normal people's concern, and with a focus on students, right? What will you tell BA English students today? Many of them wants to be journalists, many of them want to be copy editors. Now, when I'm asking BA English students in Christ University, everybody wants to become teachers because that's the only job option they have. Now, if there is no student to study, then how you will? Because now I went to another university, another college, Assumption College, Changnasheri, where the teachers are excess. No, 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 we don't have enough students. We are put on excess. We are trying to do this. So this is the scenario. So the idea of Samaj is to bring people, be strong, be vocal. There is a lot of rumors about AI regulation happening in India. Who's, and we know how it will be shaping up. Whose ideas will be represented? I have been in all these meetings. I have been sitting with all these guys. So the idea is to have common man's voice heard, simply to put.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, I would like to ask on predictive crime. because collecting large data sets and then predicting whoever may be the potential killer or criminal. Likewise, can we think of a predictive cyber crime with help of GAI?
Sir, this is a big problem. Predictive policing. It's called predictive policing. It exists. Now the problem is, for some reason, the predictive policing always arrests blacks in America. The problem is with the data. So our data is so skewed. For example, I will tell you this. This is a program done by Wadhwani in Maharashtra. So there's a hospital in Maharashtra where every newborn child has the same weight for the last 20 years. Is it possible? I mean, I think I was 3 kg or 2 kg when I was born, right? Everyone's weight differs, right, when you are born. But everyone has the same weight. Why? Because the nurses didn't bother to put the right data. We are horrible in data collection. We are really bad in data collection.
Sir,
Now, this causes two problems, sir. One, the skewed data. Okay. Second, lack of data. Now, if you want to make a, let's say, a health algorithm, right? Now we have data. My data will be there. Your data will be there.
Sir,
What about the data of the people in Attapadi? It won't
Sir,
be there.
Sir, there is a English 2 lines. Water, water everywhere, but not a tormenting. Likewise, data, data everywhere, but not a credible data.
Yep. So we have another saying, sir. I love what you said. Another saying is that India is data rich and technologically poor.
Exactly.
But the thing is, our data, there's an open data website by the government. Go there. The data is put like ulta and taladirinya PDFs are there. I don't know how anyone is going to use those data.
Topsy-turvy data.
So that's the thing. That data is just mirroring the society. Do you want this AI models? Let's say we are talking about AGI, general intelligence, which will happen in 5 year, 10 year. I don't know if that happens. Do you want, when AGI comes, do you want it to reflect our negative sides? Or when ASI comes in, whenever that is super intelligent, do you want it to act with all the biases, all the negativity we have? That's a question.
Sir, one more question regarding internet or cyber singularity. A point will reach when there will be no laws applicable. That is the emergent behavior of generative AI. It is quite unexpected. Dimensions will come. Do you think it is scary?
What if we are actually cross the singularity and this is a simulation?
There's simulation.
What if this is a simulation we are living? There is theories, there is studies. Actually, if you look at the studies done by Nick Bostrom, he says that there is only there is a 99.94 chance that we are not in the base civilization. It could be, we don't know. So anything can be there. But yeah, singularity, some of these terms are thrown by the companies and all. But as of now, for objective reality, we are not close to achieve that kind of thing. We have language models which are pretty much like the hands, clever hands, and it is very expensive to run these models. Trust me, it's very expensive. So maybe it will move into edge. Maybe now the new trend is small language models. Let's hope that will come.
Sir, with the advent of quantum computing, it will be more scary.
Yeah. Quantum computing will be amazing.
Okay.
But yeah, scary as well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jibu. So I think he has another presentation that he has to do tomorrow, and he was preparing for that, and in between that he came here for the session. Thank you.